안녕하십니까. 반갑습니다. 대한민국 행정
I am Jeon Hae-Cheol, Minister of the Interior and Safety of the Republic of Korea. It has been 3 years since the 7th summit in 2019. I sincerely congratulate the successful hosting of the 8th World Government Summit. Shaping the future of governments is the theme of this year's summit, which is taking place in tandem with Expo 2020 Dubai, where we are connecting minds and creating the future. In that sense, it's more meaningful than ever. Excellencies, distinguished guests, you will remember March 2020, 2 years ago. Since the WHO declared the COVID-19 pandemic, globally, more than 460 million people got infected and 6.1 million lives were sacrificed. Now, people are running a completely different daily lives. And there have been major changes in how the country manages the society. And in response to the climate change, AI, robot, biotechnology, and nanotechnology, and post-human are emerging, and new changes and technologies will require changes around the world. In that case, in the area of new normal, and what kind of look should the new government have in response to the challenges and crises to make it into a positive changes and innovation? Before discussing the directions of the new future government, I'd like to share some of the experiences and cases of Korean government. At the early stage of the COVID outbreak, there is a huge surge of the mask, and there's a long queue in the front of pharmacies of people who wants to buy the mask. On online shopping mall, it was difficult to get a mask, even if its price went up 5 times. In that situation, what should a government do? How did we solve the problem? The Korean government shared data on mask inventory at pharmacies with the private sector. With that data, private sector developed a mobile application where people can know which pharmacy has how many masks real time. To overcome the COVID crisis, the government had to cooperate with the private sectors, and the COVID vaccination informations, booking information, and cautions were shared through application with the people using a virtual assistant services. And that service application were shared on the portal services like a Korean Google. And also, COVID relief fund were distributed to the people by cooperating with the credit card companies and the government institutions. And the relief fund were distributed to the people, amounting 40 million people in 2 weeks. To solve the imminent task and other crisis-related issues, the government should work with the local government who knows the real situation on the field. From the early stage of the COVID, and the central government were working with the local governments and the 240 city government, holding a central disaster and safety countermeasure headquarter meetings. We can track the situation in a short period of time. We can also hear the opinions and the solutions to solve the problems on the field with urgency. Thanks to that, we could have a drive-through COVID check counter, and other quarantine policies and effective solution could be achieved. And the quarantine policies and standards were decided based on the local governments, experts, central governments, and the small business owners' opinion. In response to the COVID crisis, and as the Minister of Interior and Safety of the Republic COVID, I felt that stakeholders and the experts and the field's voices should be the one that we should listen to. If so, we can solve any issues, not only the COVID and other urgent issues. That's what I felt while I'm responding to the COVID crisis. Excellencies and distinguished guests, in the era of a new normal, what kind of shape the government should be in the era of new normalcy? Open government should be the platform where private sector, local governments, and the people can participate. In that case, we can have a creative innovations. With that, we can solve any issues down the road. OECD and World Economic Forum and other institutions said that innovation should be the center of solving the problems. The direction of innovation and challenges should be based on the democratic values of the open government. In that case, various and creative capability can lead to the government's innovation and the society changes, and that effect can be amplified. We will continue to remove barriers to participation. Transparency and inclusive will be emphasized so that we can be a more effective and capable government with better policies. That's the first direction of the future government. Korean government wants to extend the platform for the people's participation. To do that, we are running the Gwanghwamun First Street. That's where people can participate to make up policies. Anybody can participate the Gwanghwamun First Street to give opinions to make up policies. They can submit any ideas to the government over the past 4 years. Around 12,000 suggestions were uploaded and they were submitted to the government officer, and most of the suggestions were realized into the government's policies. And around 210 million informations were shared with the public, who are the owners of the data. And people can use the information and manage the information online via a public information circulating system. So our efforts were highly acclaimed by the international community, and in Korea ranked for the 3 consecutive years in OECD OUI Data Index, and ranked the first in United Nations E-Participation Index. Another important thing is the empowerment, empowering the local government. And on the local areas, we have to make sure the local residents and local governments should work together for collaboration and cooperation. In that case, we can have a more creative policies. New York Times also acclaimed the 10-cent tech services in Korea. 10-cent tech services is provided to the residents in remote area. Actually, 10 cent is only 1/10 of the bus fare. And this is idea led by the local government, and it's a great public services. And we also get good positive response from the residents, and the bus operating costs and the number of people who are using it were evaluated by the local government. And also the number of people using the taxis and the bus operating fares will be evaluated based on the experts who are working at the local government. That's something the central government cannot do. So to have a correct answers to the issues, we can find it in the field, in the local areas. The local governments and the residents should take initiative to solve the issues from there. And also, there the central government will cooperate with them based on the principle of subsidiarity to expand their autonomy. To solve the issues that are related to the residents and to boost the development that are unique to that areas. If we do that, their quality of life will be improved, and eventually we can expect a continued development as a whole in the country. Excellencies and distinguished guests, open government and government innovations can be operated effectively based on the digital government that are using the advanced technology. As you're all aware, COVID-19 has hit the entire world, but at the same time, it has boosted the digital innovation. During the pandemic, the Korea's public services could be shared and could be distributed to the public thanks to the integrated portal service, so-called Government 24. That is based on a very integrated digital foundation, which we already have. Government 24 enables people to get the relief fund without having to visit the offline government offices, and around 70,000 services could be shared online on the Government 24. This service is very valid and available and effective to the people. During the COVID pandemic, Korean people can utilize the public services thanks to the digital government that the Korean government has founded. Korean government will provide the public services more easily, more efficiently based on the digital government. We also continue to change the government and pursue innovation, safe and efficient blockchain-based mobile ID, advanced technology-based smart city, and also ubiquitous work can be available. And the government innovation will accelerate, and you can see more changes in the future. Excellencies and distinguished guests, at the center of the government innovation challenges lies the people. Advanced technology has contributed to, should contribute to the peace of the future. In preparing the future, we should make sure that there will be no people alienated with inclusiveness and cooperation. Open government, decentralized government, and digital government will lead to the inclusiveness. Distinguished guests, and I believe the international solidarity and cooperation and new challenges are expected, and the new challenges should be turned into the innovation and changes. Thank you. Shukran.